afternoon. This is HorseRacingNation.com handicapper Jarrod Horak, and we're back with our Kentucky Derby 2015 early preview. Starting in September, we started our first list, and we updated it in October. Now we're updating it in November, and as we start getting more prep races in January and beyond, we'll be updating it a lot more. But right now, the action's been a little bit light, but let's update that. But before we update our list, let's preview the Delta Jackpot. In the Delta Jackpot, we're going to have a full field. Typically in the past, you get that bull ring oval, you get some horses that maybe show speed, like Rise Up last year, went all the way. He had won the local prep, so he liked the track. Golden Sense, another horse in 2012, he showed a lot of speed. He ended up winning nicely. Saber Cat won it the year before that. Gourmet Dinner, Rule for trainer Todd Pletcher, another horse that liked to run close to the pace. And then Big Drama, a horse that had some distance limitations, but he's another one that was at least forwardly placed. So maybe you're going to look for a horse that's forwardly placed, but this year it looks like there's a decent amount of speed, and you certainly, if you can find a horse that likes to track, that's a positive. Some of the contenders this year, Prime Engine for trainer Jerry Hollendorfer. He drew the inside post, scratched out of a stakes race at Del Mar last weekend, but he's going to end up going here instead. He's 8-1 morning line, a little bit interesting from the inside. Mr. Z is going to be your morning line favorite for trainer Dean Wayne Lucas, but he's lost his last 5 starts. He was 5th in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He's probably going to take too much action. I like to play against horses coming out of the Breeders' Cup when they come back the same year, just a few weeks later. A lot of years it's worth trying to beat those horses because they take too much money. Your local horse is going to be number 6 in there, a Golden Actor. This one won the prep, the same prep, the Jean Lafitte that Rise Up won last year, and he's got some tactical speed, and he's 7-2 morning line, and the fact that he likes to track obviously makes him a contender. You have Red Button from Southern California. He finished 2nd, adding blinkers last time. That was on the turf in a stakes race at Santa Anita. That was on October 5th. He's 12-1. He seems a little bit interesting. He's handled any surface so far. He's handled dirt, he's handled synthetic, and he's handled turf. So he's got that versatility. Ocho, he drew post 10. He's 2 for 2, both of those wins in Santa Anita dirt sprints. Mike Smith's going to ride. He's going to probably show some speed. He's 6-1, especially from that outside post. Now, if you'd like to learn more about this race, go over to HorseRacingNation.com. This is going to be my Saturday HorseRacingNation.com written play. So go over to the Plays of the Day section to see my written analysis and suggested wagering strategies. You can follow Horse Racing Nation on Twitter, and you can like us on Facebook. Derby Wars this week, we're going to have a big $20,000 game on Saturday. And Delta Downs is one of the tracks that we typically use. We have Delta. We use all kinds of tracks. We use Aqueduct, Churchill, all the big tracks. Del Mar, obviously. Golden Gate, we pick up the late races. So day and night, 7 days a week, DerbyWars.com. And now we're going to get into the list for the top 11 Kentucky Derby contenders. Number 11, Chief Istan. He's been on my list since the beginning. Broke his maiden in his Delaware Park debut. That was on September 3rd. His last workout was October 6th, so he's disappeared from the work tab. And after that debut, they said they were going to point him to the Delta Jackpot. So obviously something happened, but I haven't been able to figure out what happened to this horse at this point. I would expect that if he does show up, it'll be at Fairgrounds. So if he doesn't show up soon on the work tab, we'll probably have to drop him off the list, but he was very impressive in that Delaware Park debut. Coming in at number 10 is going to be Daredevil for Todd Pletcher. Won his first 2 starts on wet tracks at Belmont Park. Shipped him to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, outside post. He was hung out to dry. He raced wide, never got involved. He ended up finishing last in that race. He's better than that, but still not sure how good he is. We know that he can handle a wet track, and we know he likes Belmont Park, but we don't know how good he is on a fast track. But goes to Gulfstream this winter. We'll see how he does. Texas Red, your big Breeders' Cup Juvenile winner as a long shot coming from off the pace. He dominated that race, got a 104 Beyer speed figure, but he was a long shot. That was a surprise. The pace sort of fell apart in that race, and I think the jury's still out on how good he really is, but he did look good that day. He's got a promising pedigree to continue to run well, and I like that running style from off the pace, but I don't think he's that much better than the horses in the Juvenile. And also the Juvenile in many years, how many times does the Juvenile winner come back and be a strong 3-year-old? But he did look good in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Number 8 on the list is going to be Lord Nelson. He won his last start by 6 lengths in the Speak Easy Stakes for trainer Bob Baffert. They're going to stretch him back out around 2 turns, and I think he's going to be a decent 3-year-old for Baffert. at Santa Anita over the winter. Coming in at number 7 is Frosted. He's another one that's been on my list the whole time. 3 career starts, 1 win in 2 seconds. He finally did break his maiden after finishing second in back-to-back maiden races. At Aqueduct, 1 mile, he broke his maiden by 5 lengths. That was on October 30th. He's still working bullets for trainer Karen McLaughlin, Godolphin, his sire's Tappet. A lot to like about this horse. I think he has a lot of promise, and he's one to certainly keep an eye on. El Kabir is going to be at number 6. He was second in the Nashua Stakes. He set the pace. I think he has distance limitations, but he's fast, he's talented, and these kind of horses that they show speed and they show some decent speed figures that when they can get out there in these Derby preps, they're sometimes dangerous to catch. Number 5 is Super Colossal. He was a paced casualty in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, but he stumbled at the start. He dueled 3 wide. He was working well before that. He won all of his starts at Monmouth prior to the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. Look for him for trainer Eddie Plesa Jr. at Gulfstream Park this winter, and I still think he has a lot of ability, and he should like Gulfstream horses with his running style. On or near the lead, they do well at Gulfstream Park. Number 4, American Pharaoh. A foot bruise knocked him out of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He looked great before that. He's a Grade 1, a 2-time Grade 1 winner for Bob Baffert. He's expected to come back in February of 2015. Hopefully he'll get on the work tab in much quicker than that, and he'll be able to run earlier in the winter and at least get two preps. But maybe the one concern is last year we had Shared Belief. He had the foot issues and he never was able to make the Triple Crown Trail. So we'll have to see how quickly he can get over this foot bruise. Number 3 is going to be Blofeld. He won the Nashua Stakes with a 93 Beyer speed figure. He won the Futurity Stakes before that. The Nashua was 1 mile. I don't really know how far he wants to go, but he's up to a mile so far. He's been outstanding. They decided to skip the Remsen. They're going to ship him to Florida for the winter for trainer Todd Pletcher, but he's certainly one to keep an eye on. He's got that versatile running style. I liked his ability where he's shown to run on the inside of horses and work his way through traffic, and he certainly has a lot of promise. Number 2 is Carpe Diem, second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, first in the Breeders' Futurity. He won his debut. That was an excellent effort coming off of a sprint in his debut to then win the Breeders' Futurity around 2 turns. And then in the Juvenile, in his first 2 races, he was close to the lead. In the Juvenile, he kind of broke sluggishly. He was in the back. They swung him wide in a stretch. It didn't look like he was going anywhere. And then he started to get on track late. He got up for second. It was a decent effort. He has a lot of ability, and he could be Pletcher's best 2-year-old. Number 1 is International Star. He's been my top choice. I'm going to keep him up there. He won the Gray Stakes. He got 10 Derby points for that. And then they ran him in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. Post 12, he was wide. He was bumped hard in the stretch. He ended up finishing 9th. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's shown a lot of versatility. He can run on any surface, and he didn't really overcome the trouble last time. But I like the fact that he was able to run in that full field and get a lot of experience out of that. He's worked since then, and maybe they run him in at Churchill Downs in their Kentucky Jockey Club Stakes next. I'm not sure, but I think that's a possibility since he is at Churchill and he did work there recently. So we'll see if they go in that direction with him. But I'm going to keep him on top for the time being. Now, if you want to read my Kentucky Derby top 10 list, go over to horseраcingnation.wordpress.com and you'll see the updated, all the written updates for that, and then the video series as well. So all of the Derby blogs will be at horseраcingnation.wordpress.com. That'll wrap up this video. We'll be back in December in a few weeks to update the list again.